Hey, hello. It's Christine here, CEO and founder of Create Your Best Life at Home and Work. I'm a leadership consultant, company culture strategist, speaker, author, and coach. And today I want to talk to you about the lost art of communication. And I want to share with you three meaningful tips that are going to benefit you in your life in all areas, personally, professionally, with friends, acquaintances, when you're out getting, at the restaurant, anywhere that you are. And I want to share a little bit of background on this. So this morning I went running and I was listening to this podcast called the Duct Tape Marketing Podcast. And they had a guest on. Her name is Amanda Holmes, and she's the CEO of Chet Holmes International, which is a very large company that specializes in sales and marketing. And so she was sharing how she had gone to a conference and to a trade show type of thing, and there's booths set up. And she went up to talk to people, to find out more. And the people in the booths, the men and the women in the booths, they were like a deer in headlights. She said it was interesting because it was like nobody, she's there to find out stuff, find out information, but the people that she went up to in these booths were just really awkward and didn't really seem like they knew how to engage in conversation. And I thought that was really I thought that was so appropriate because for me today, having this topic, I feel really passionate about it, and that is really one of the fundamental things, right? So many times it's like we don't know how to engage in conversation. And in our culture today, there's so much, with texting and emailing. And it's like so many people just don't interact. And I feel like the art of communication and connection is diminishing because we don't connect. And hi there, whoever just joined. I would love to say hello and tell me where you're calling in from, or where you're watching from. Hey there, welcome. And so today I'm talking about communication. And like I said, there's be more interested and you'll be more interesting. In my career, all the things that I'm going to share with you right now are things that I've learned. They're things that I have studied and learned, and I think that they will benefit you. So be more interested and you'll be more interesting. You've probably heard that from Stephen Covey, Dale Carnegie, and it's really one of these things that when you're in situations, it can be awkward, right? What does that mean? Be more interested and you'll be more interesting. Hey, Siobhan, thanks for being here. Good to see you. And so my husband and I were at a restaurant and we were getting ready to wait. We're waiting for our table. We're at the bar and we're having a glass of wine. And there's these young guys next to us, and they're probably in their early 20s. And then we noticed that there's some young women around the bar area standing around. And these young guys were, they were over there, and I could tell, like I could overhear their conversation. They were trying to figure out what they're going to do, how they can speak to these young ladies. And so, of course, I can't help myself. That's one of the benefits of this aging process, especially, is just, having that boldness to talk to them. So I asked them, I said, hey, I see that you're, scoping out these beautiful ladies at the end of the bar. I said, why don't you go talk to them? And this poor kid looks at me like a deer in headlights. And he said, what do I say? And it was so funny because I told him, I said, listen, all you have to do is go and introduce yourself, ask their names, and then ask them some questions. If you ask someone questions about them, they feel valued. They feel like you care, like you're interested, like you're curious. And I think that a lot of times asking questions, people just don't know what to ask. And so this is a very novice graphic here. And this is based on Dale Carnegie's model. And so I think this is a great thing to visualize. There's little pictures here because we remember things in pictures. It's hard for our brains to remember abstract information. So I want you to picture as you see here, a home. So when you meet somebody and you ask them a little bit about, where they live, where are they from, you can ask people so picture the home and picture an airplane flying over the home. That represents traveling. And so when you think about traveling, when you're in a situation, maybe you're at a conference, maybe you're at a party, maybe it's a neighborhood event, even with your spouses or anybody or any relationship, these are topics that you can have in your mind on how to communicate. So picturing an airplane going over the house represents travel, connecting with someone on travel. What's their favorite place they've ever visited? Family, when you picture the house, picture a person's face peeking out of the house, maybe children's faces in the window. And that's where you can think about family, asking someone about, family, like how many sisters they have or brothers or siblings, and, where like just some information about their families. Sports, you can picture a kid out front kicking a soccer ball. You can ask that person relative to sports, like here in the South, the SEC, football, all that kind of thing is really a connection point. Hobbies, gardening, swimming, movies, things like that. Ask them about their business, what they do. Ask them about, what are they working on? What are some ideas that they may have? And so when you picture this, I hope that this is helpful, because these are the things that we can look at in order to connect with someone. And now the deeper thing here, when you talk to someone, and this is to me really one of the catalysts. Hi, Katie. Great to see you. Thanks so much for being here. This to me is so key. QBQ, we call it. And I learned this from Greg Cagle, that I worked with at the John Maxwell Company when I was a leadership consultant. And he was one of our facilitators. QBQ is question behind the question. So when you're talking to somebody and you ask them about, a hobby or a sport or where they went to college or, what kind of work they do, the question behind the question is really when you get down to what the motivation is for what they did. So if you ask somebody about their work, whatever their job is, and they tell you, then it's like, well, what got you interested in that field? It's like when you ask the question behind the question of what the motivation is, it's like you can take that to a whole new level and really connect with someone on what is really important to them. And for me as a coach, that is really what my job is just asking questions and being curious and being interested. And it's really fun when you take the time to do that. This is so true. I want you to read this. This is a quote from Brené Brown, and it says, I define connection as the energy that exists between people when they feel seen, heard, and valued, when they can give and receive without judgment, and when they derive sustenance and strength from that relationship. I mean, ultimately, when we take an interest in others, when we are curious, when we ask questions, and we listen, what we do is we connect. And this is applicable in every single aspect of our lives and every scenario, every relationship. And that's really what we all want, right? We want to feel seen, we want to feel heard. And I think that, there's this quote here, and this is from Dale Carnegie. And he says, you can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get people interested in you. And so these are the 3 simple tips. And I'd like to challenge you to go out and to be really intentional with the different relationships. Maybe pick 5 people in the next week that I want you to be curious. So be genuinely curious in that person. Ask them questions and go back to that picture. This picture here, these different topics will help derive and drive you to more conversation. And then QBQ, the question behind the question. I want you to dig deeper and to listen, and for you to help others to feel heard, to feel seen, And ultimately, that's what we all want. And I want that for you. And again, that is what I do. So many times the answers to everything are inside of you. It's just a matter of getting that information and sharing that information. And ultimately, when we do that, there's that significance, feeling like you matter in this world. And so I just want to tell you that I'm thankful that you've watched this, and I appreciate you. And I hope that you will reach out to me. You can go check us out at christinemroberts.com. I would love for you to schedule a free consultation. We do coaching, speaking, and facilitation on leadership, on personal development, executive leadership, and life coaching. And I would love, love, love to connect with you and learn more about you. So I look forward to seeing you soon. And otherwise, go create your best life.